Also tonight, 5 middle school students have been arrested in Coconut Creek after an after-school attack.
First, those middle school arrests, one of the victims say he was jumped and whipped.
And his parents say it was all because of the color of his skin. Let's get right to Local 10's Alex Finney, live now in Coconut Creek for us. Alex.
And Calvin and Nicole, one thing I heard from a parent today that this is a major problem. Apparently, parents are saying that this is really just a string of problems that have been happening here at the school. There is also now concern that there might have been other kids involved who just weren't caught. We're hearing from outraged parents who had to hear the cries and concerns from their children who are now scared to even go back to school after police say a group of kids were attacked because of their race.
Yeah, whipping them, kicking them, hitting them, running through the crowd.
And here are the photos and videos of some of the injuries. According to police, this happened Wednesday morning just outside of Lions Creek Middle School. According to the arrest form, 3 kids were approached by their classmates who yelled, "You are white." One began attacking the boys, and the others joined in as the kids yelled, "It's opposite day," and "Brown power." The fighting lasted for a few seconds. One of the victims claims the group even used a black USB phone charger and started hitting him with it.
Kid that did report it got text messages later in the day that he was a snitch. So people at school were calling him a snitch for reporting and doing the right thing. So he's even scared to go back to school.
This happened just steps away from police. All 5 were arrested and charged with battery. While the alleged victims are physically okay, it's the mental and emotional toll that worries Frank Foster.
He's scared. He's nervous. He's nervous to go back to school. Some of those kids are in the same classes as him.
Foster says this incident is part of a bigger bullying problem on campus, a problem that he says continues to get worse.
I'm frustrated with the school that they're not taking the efforts to stop it or keep them safe.
And again, we have heard from parents of other incidents that actually occurred leading up to the one yesterday. We did reach out to Broward County Public Schools, and according to Lions Middle, they say that they are very aware of what has happened, and they are working very closely with law enforcement. So I'm sure more to come on this.
Okay, so y'all just heard that right there, and this story is kind of making its rounds finally now. From an incident that happened at the school called Lions Creek Middle School, and it's a school in Florida. And I'm actually going to read an article that's attached to this story because it's more in the article than what they put in the news clip. Let me just say that I have a big, strong feeling that there is way more to this story than what they're putting out there. I'm almost 100% certain that it is. So what I'm going to do is, before I give my take on it, I'm going to read this article, and that way we can get more in-depth information. 5 Florida middle school students have been charged with hate crimes for allegedly participating in a quote-unquote racially motivated crime, reported NBC News. They are facing battery charges after attacking a group of white students and spouting racial slurs. Per NBC's report, 4 white children between 11 and 12 years old were punched and kicked by a group of Lions Creek Middle School students Wednesday morning. The incident occurred across the street from the school at the Coconut Creek Recreation Center. According to the arrest reports, the students approached the victims, yelled "It's opposite day" and "Brown power," and beat them. Right there, that brown power part, that's not something black people would say, let alone black kids. Like, I read a comment that said it's hard enough to get black people to say black power, and now you will expect us to believe that they yelled out brown power. The arrest reports noted that the comments were made before and during the alleged attack. The student said that he was approached by a group of kids unprovoked who said to him, "You are white." The arrest report said he then was tackled to the ground by one student, which subsequently allowed the group of middle school kids to start hitting him with their hands, feet, and phone chargers. The police report also stated that another victim was hit with a stick and charger cords. One victim told NBC Miami he was targeted because he was white in a sort of reparations tactic. Pay attention to that. Reparations tactic? Yeah, I see exactly what's going on here. And I already know what they're going to do to spin this. I didn't even bother looking at the comment sections of the video because the news clip that you heard came from YouTube, and then I had to leave off of YouTube to go to the article to read it. I'm not going to read them comments because I already know what's filled underneath them. All 366 of them at the time of me recording this video. It's been a thing where they are trying to do that whole reverse racism thing again. Because, that's a terminology that they came up with. And we haven't heard about that. I haven't heard that phrase in years. Like, it's been a couple years since the last time I've heard them use that. They're trying to bring that back. They want to be oppressed so bad that they will do anything they can to feel that way. And I'm willing to bet we are not going to get the words from the mouths of the students that did the alleged hate crime attack. This is the same tactic that the Asians used when they were pushing their anti-Asian hate crime bill. This is the same thing they're doing down there. And this is in Florida. No surprise there. Remember, Ron as I call him, Ron the Snowflake, created that basically a white fragility bill, where basically you couldn't tell white people about their past and the atrocities that they brought to groups of people, i.e. black people. And now you have this coming up. I bet you Ron the Snowflake ain't gonna say nothing about this. He's probably actually glad that this is being reported and it's actually being pushed as it is right now. This is what they want. They have to make black people of all ages the villain of every narrative that they can possibly think of. Because the big black boogeyman narrative, that doesn't have to apply just to grown black men. That applies to everybody. Man, woman, and child of all ages. It does not discriminate. After they jumped me, they said this is like revenge for what they did in the 1700s for slavery, said the child via NBC. See, they're only getting the words from the PC kids. We don't know what the testimony is or what's given from the black kids that allegedly did what they did here. So they're only taking one side, and I bet you're going to have Dub S and PC going to come out and say that's the only side we need, but they be the same ones that say we need to hear all the facts. The facts for them is the ones that's coming from the alleged victims, which are PC children. That's all the facts they need. They don't need to hear anything else, because this is the fact, this is the stuff that they wanted to hear. This is a wet dream for them. The school district has since responded in a statement saying they will work to provide a safe and secure learning environment and ensure that any off-campus incidents do not impact students at the middle school, per NBC's report. However, one of the parents of the victims believe the school can't do much because the incident didn't happen on school property. However, police moved swiftly to arrest 4 of the 5 students. The 4 have been charged with battery and evidence of prejudice while committing a hate crime. Now, keep in mind, they said that these students that got attacked were 11 and 12, between the ages of 11 and 12. They didn't reveal the ages of the other kids that was attacking them allegedly. If they are the same age as them, isn't it amazing how swiftly they, 1, arrested them, and 2, hit them with a charge, and 3, instantly claimed that it was a hate crime? Immediately. When it comes to actual hate crimes, when it comes to us, they have to do a thorough quote unquote investigation to actually determine if it was a hate crime or not. And 9 times out of 10, it usually is one. Police say they will work with school officials to make sure the suspects are appropriately dealt with. I hate how they wrote that, and they put it in quotations when they said it. I believe that this is a bunch of BS. Could a fight have actually occurred? Most likely, because kids get in fights all the time. But that thing about them yelling brown power, first of all, no black child is going around here yelling black and brown power. Hell, grown black adults wouldn't go around yelling no brown power because we don't call ourselves brown. That's number 1. Then they said it was opposite day, basically trying to say that I don't know, opposite day. Does that mean like opposite genders? Does that mean opposite ethnicities, nationalities? I don't know what that's all about. And then they said brown power, and then he said one of the students said that this was revenge for what they did in the 1700s with slavery. I don't think there was any brown people in them fields. I know there were some black people there though. But see, they're only taking the side of the alleged victims. We're not getting the side of those that did the alleged attack. And yes, I'm saying alleged because we know if this was any other way, they would throw that word alleged all the way through. And speaking of alleged, let me skim through this article one more time and see if the words alleged was even used in here. Because I'm looking at this and I think every time I use the word alleged, I threw that in there. I'm looking at this article and I don't see, unless I'm looking over something. Okay, they do have allegedly in here. They have it towards the top when they said in the first sentence, they said for allegedly participating in a racially. Okay, I just wanted to be sure. But they probably wished it wasn't alleged because I think allegedly was only used one time in this whole article, even though the article was only it says a 2-minute read. I just had to be sure. But yeah, I believe they're overly embellishing this thing. And when they showed the clip of the kids that were attacked, and they showed like, you know, they didn't show their faces because they're minors, but they showed like the markings, I guess, that they got from the beatings. These look like little small, they don't even look like bruises. I saw like a little scratch here and there, but they made it seem like a limb was broken, or they had internal bleeding, or a concussion. But see how they blew this out of proportion? Like they literally blew that up because they now could put quote unquote black kids in the position where they can say, they're the ones that committed the hate crime. And, you know, because basically in that reparations tactic line right there was very telling. They said in a sort of a reparations tactic. Let me read that part again because I want to make sure that I got that part correct, because they said one victim told NBC Miami he was targeted because he was white in a sort of reparations tactic. So basically saying this is beating your ass is reparations for what your ancestors did to mine. Even in a fight, if black people got into a fight with a PC person, we wouldn't say that this ass whooping is reparations for what your ancestors did to mine. No. Yeah, like the reparations tactic line, the brown power thing, that right there raises so many red flags for me, and I'm sure anybody else who is aware of this story. And it happened in Florida. Go figure. Y'all know how Florida gets down. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can try to follow this story closely. And I want to hear the testimony from the students who did the alleged attack. And I won't even hold my breath if they don't get any kind of testimony from them. Because like I said, they got all they needed from the PC kids. Remember, PC loves to take both sides. They love to say, wait till all the facts are given. But I'm sure in this case, all the facts were given because it was one-sided, and it was the side that they lean more towards. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you are new, make sure you hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live.